A blessed day to our panel of experts, to our research professor, and to our research advisor. Thank you for joining us today as my co-researchers and I present our study entitled Effects of Watching K-Drama on the Writing Performance of the Selected Students of the University of Rizal System, Morong. Before I proceed on our presentation, I would like to introduce my co-researchers, Ms. Trisha Hani S.J. Andalio, Ms. Waji C. Junicio, and Mr. Cedric C. Raimundo, and of course, yours truly, Ms. Jewel M. Karanglan. And now for the brief introduction of our study, Mr. Raimundo will now present.
Thank you, Ms. Jewel Karanglan, for that wonderful opening remarks. And good day, dear panelists. For the introduction or the rationale of our study, English language is essential to communication in our current time. That is why everyone needs to learn the language to get in touch on an international level. Speaking and writing will help us communicate with people from countries all over the world. The English language is also essential to information dissemination. On the internet, most of the websites are written and created in English. It is primary language of the press. More newspapers and books are written in English than in any other language. According to National Commission on Writing, writing is an elite skill. They also pointed out that it is essential to meet success in higher education. However, according to La Sala 2014, writing skills of Filipino secondary senior students were significantly lower as compared to their oral abilities, though both skills were found to be in the bounds of being acceptable. In line with this, recent study of Pablo and Lasatan 2018 says that grade 11 Filipino students are experiencing incompetency in all areas of academic essay. Having said that, the researchers became interested in conducting this study to see if there is a chance in developing learner skills and abilities in writing as a result of the aforementioned challenges and concerns regarding students' writing performance. The researchers hope that through this study, educators will use every factor that can affect their learners' writing performance, as well as their learners' knowledge to maximize the use of watching television series with English subtitle to develop their writing competence in all aspects, which will help them prepare for their future academic and professional endeavors. Now that we are through with the rationale of our study, let us now proceed to the theoretical framework which will be discussed by Ms. Trisha Hani Andalio.
Thank you, Mr. Cedric Raimundo. And for our theoretical framework, this study was supported by Stephen Krashen's theory of second language acquisition. Stephen Krashen is a known expert in the field of linguistics. He is an educational researcher and activist specializing in theories of language acquisition and development. Krashen's theory of second language acquisition consists of 5 main hypotheses, which are the acquisition learning hypothesis, monitor hypothesis, input hypothesis, affective filter hypothesis, and the natural order hypothesis. Each hypothesis plays a specific role in the second language acquisition, which is vital in all areas of language learning. And in this study, we mainly focused on the 2 of the aforementioned hypotheses, which are the acquisition learning hypothesis and the input hypothesis. The acquisition learning hypothesis is known to be the most fundamental of the 5 hypotheses in Krashen's theory and the most widely known among linguists and language teachers. In this hypothesis, it highlighted how a target language is acquired and learned through natural process. It involves assimilation, intuition, and subconscious learning as a product of interaction between people, environment, and the target language. Second language acquisition is said to have similarities to the way children learn their native tongue, or also called as mother tongue language, as it is a process that produces functional skill in the spoken language without theoretical knowledge. For example, children who watch English movies or shows can subconsciously acquire the English language as a product of their interaction with the language. One of the most famous cartoon TV shows in this generation is the Peppa Pig British animated series. There are studies about the effect of the Peppa Pig show influencing the language and communication skills of the children. Children who watch this show acquire the English language, and some children even learn a British accent through this show. It develops familiarity with the phonetic characteristics of the language as well as its structure and vocabulary, and is responsible for oral understanding. In this study, we have used the Korean drama, popularly called as K-drama, which has been rapidly emerging in this generation, known as the Korean wave. The above-mentioned theory served as a means to determine the effects of watching K-drama to language acquisition, as defined as the writing performance of selected students of the University of Rizal System Morong. This theory is related to the present study in terms of acquiring a new language, in terms of adapting and learning how to use, write, and understand the target language because of their exposure to Korean drama. People who are engaged in watching K-dramas can acquire the English language subconsciously through the help of subtitles as an input to help understand what they are trying to convey, as long as they understand the message that they receive, process its meaning, and retain the language as complexities of human memories. And the next speaker will be Ms. Jiwal Karanglan to discuss about the statement of the problem of this study.
Thank you, Ms. Andalio. And now for the statement of the problem. This study aims to determine the effects of watching K-drama on the writing performance of the selected students of the University of Rizal System. Specifically, it seeks to answer the following questions. Number 1. What is the writing performance of the selected students of the University of Rizal System Morong before and after watching K-drama with respect to content, organization, and grammar structure? Number 2, is there any significant difference in the writing performance of the selected students of the University of Rizal System Morong before and after watching K-drama with respect to content, organization, and grammar structure? And for the last, number 3, based on the findings, what recommendations are offered? And now for the summary of findings, Ms. Junicio will proceed.
Thank you, Ms. Karanglan, and here are the summary of findings. So for number 1 statement of the problem, what is the writing performance of the selected students of the University of Rizal System Morong before and after watching K-drama with respect to 1.1. There is an improvement in the writing performance of the respondents in terms of content as revealed by the pre-watching narrative essay with the mean of 3.13, which falls under the verbal interpretation, developing competence in writing, and is classified as neutral. Meanwhile, it has improved better by 3.56 with the verbal interpretation of adequate writing in post-watching narrative essays, which is basically classified as a positive result. 1.2. The writing performance of the respondents progressed with respect to organization as revealed by the pre-watching narrative essay was 2.88, which fits under the verbal interpretation, developing competence in writing, whereas the result in the post-watching narrative essay shows that it became 3.50, which means adequate writing, and concluded to be a positive result. And 1.3, in terms of grammar structure, the writing performance of the respondents as revealed by pre-watching narrative essay and the post-watching narrative essay was unvarying as long as the verbal interpretation is concerned, which indicates that the verbal interpretation is developing competence in writing with the mean ranges from 2.75 and 3.13. Number 2 statement of the problem. Is there any significant difference in the writing performance of the selected students of the University of Rizal System Morong before and after watching K-drama with respect to? And 2.1, it is statistically found that there is a significant difference in the writing performance of the respondents as revealed in the pre-watching narrative essay and post-watching narrative essay results in terms of content. With a p-value of 0.014, it didn't exceed to 0.05 level of significance, thus the null hypothesis is rejected. 2.2, in terms of organization, it is statistically found that there is a significant difference in the writing performance of the respondents as revealed in the pre-watching narrative essay and post-watching narrative essay results. With the p-value of 0.000, it didn't exceed to 0.05 level of significance. Therefore, the null hypothesis is invalid. 2.3. It is statistically found that there is a significant difference in the writing performance of the respondents as revealed in the pre-watching narrative essay and post-watching narrative essay results in terms of grammar structure. With a p-value of 0.029, it didn't exceed to 0.05 level of significance, hence the null hypothesis is rejected. And for the number 3 statement of the problem, based on the findings, what recommendations are offered? So first, based on the findings, the researchers proposed that aside from learning the second language by watching K-dramas, reading webtoon or manga that was written in English could help in improving the writing performance of the reader because it provides clarity and preciseness of the story, which is basically the rules of organization and content in terms of writing and speaking. Second, students may list every unfamiliar word they encounter whenever watching movies or television series. This is to increase the vocabulary and to help improve the grammar that anyone has in mind. Third, gather only relevant information whenever reading or watching something to be more understandable and coherent when it comes to writing. And last, English teachers must give focus on grammatical structures. They may facilitate webinars and writing activities for the students that they have found flawed in writing and has fundamental deficiencies in writing. And to further discuss conclusion and recommendations, may I present to you our last speaker, Ms. Jewel M. Caranglan.
Based on the results of the researcher's study, the following conclusions were drawn. First, the writing performance of the respondents were significantly and positively affected because of the seen improvement in both content and organization after watching K-drama. While in grammar structure, respondents show inconsistency in numbers, that is why it doesn't affect their writing performance at all in the said level. Second, aside from K-drama, any movies or series that provides comprehensible input such as English language as subtitles could have improved the writing performance of the students. And lastly, the longer the respondents were exposed to television series with English subtitles, the more that they could have improved their writing performance in all aspects. And so, for the recommendations, in the light of the conclusions mentioned, the following are recommended. Number 1, the future researchers may use any television series with the aid of English language subtitles and specific rubric to measure the writing performance of students in English subjects. Number 2, researchers may provide a larger population in this study to increase the veracity and may add more viewing days to expose the respondents in longer television series with English subtitles as an input. Number 3, future respondents may conduct study on language acquisition but this time measure the speaking performance of non-English major students on and after watching television series with English subtitles using rubrics. And lastly, facilitate a program that distributes more activities that can monitor and increase the level of performance of students in all forms of writing. And that is the end of the presentation of our study. The researchers are now ready for comments, suggestions, and recommendations. Thank you.